Habargani!
Kujichagulia!
Habargani!
Kujichagulia!
Peace! We are the Jazar family celebrating the second night of Kwanzaa. And Habargani is a phrase, a Swahili word that means what's the news. So every day of Kwanzaa, you greet your brothers and sisters and family with Habargani, and they respond with the principle of the day. And today's principle is Kujichagulia.
Absolutely. Kujichagulia, self-determination. It means to define for ourselves, to name ourselves, to create for ourselves, as well as to speak for ourselves. It is in the Kwanzaa tradition, and it's actually in the African tradition, to always open a celebration or a ceremony with libation. Now, for the celebration of Kwanzaa, there is a traditional libation called the Tamshila Tambiko. We will read the Tamshila Tambiko, and we will say Ashe, and Ashe represents, so let it be. Our fathers and mothers came here, lived, loved, struggled, and built here. At this place, their love and labor rose like the sun and gave strength and meaning to the day. For them, then, who gave so much, we give in return. On this same soil, we will sow our seeds and build and move in unity and strength. Here, too, we will continue their struggle for liberation and a higher level of human life. May our eyes be the eagle, our strength be the elephant, and the boldness of our life be like the lion. And may we remember and honor our ancestors and the legacy they left for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow. For our people everywhere then, for Shaka, Samri, Nzinga, and all the others known and unknown who defended our ancestral land, history, and humanity from alien invaders. Ashe.
Ashe.
For Garvey, Muhammad, Malcolm, and King, Harriet, Fannie Lou, Sojourner, Bethune, and Nat Turner, and all the others who dared to define, defend, and develop our interests as a people. Ashe.
Ashe.
For our children and the fuller and freer lives they will live because we struggle. Ashe.
Ashe.
For Kawaida and the Nguzu Saba, the new system of views and values which gives identity, purpose, and direction to our lives. Ashe.
Ashe.
For the new world we struggle to build. Ashe.
Ashe.
And for the continuing struggle through which we will inevitably rescue and reconstruct our history and humanity in our own image and according to our own needs. Ashe.
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 Have a poem by Ozari Jazar. I Choose by Miranda Merritt.
I choose to live by choice, not by chance. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To make changes, not excuses. To excel, not compete. I choose self-esteem over self-pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not the random opinion of others. So have Kujichagulia, my sisters and my brothers.
honor and reinforce our commitment to the Nguzo Saba, we're going to light the candles with the lovely Jazar children. Y'all ready? All right. So we've already lit the candle for Umoja. And what does that mean, Umoja?
Unity.
Where? In the
Family, community, and nation.
Right, right. So, Azar, you want to help me light this candle for unity? Everybody put your hand on. There we go. All right. So what candle should we light next? Red. Okay. Is that the same as red? Yes. Okay. And that candle is for what principle?
Kujichagulia.
And right. And that means?
Self-determination.
All right. Self-determination. So let's light this candle. Very good.
We are Westside Cultural Arts, educating children about health, character, and culture while teaching life skills through the arts for a better community. Check us out at Westside Cultural Arts. Tonight, we're going to try something a little different. Our girls are going to perform a dance that have African moves and American hip hop in it, and we're coming together and bridging the two worlds from the diaspora. All right, Jazar girls, let's dance. He was one of the first that helped us to merge the West African music to our Afro-American jazz. Thank you for tonight and have a great celebration. Habaragani. Kujichagulia.
Oh my.
So in Kwanzaa, we have our Kwanzaa table, which has a lot of symbols and things that represents our history and heritage that remind us of some of the 7 basic values and principles of Kwanzaa, right? So let's talk about what they are. The first one is,
The mkeka.
that's right, that's the mat. And the mat is our foundation, right? It represents the foundation of everything we stand on, our values, and going back to our mother.
Yeah.
Say Africa.
Africa.
That's right, our homeland, Africa. Then we have the,
Kanara.
and the Kanara represents,
The roots.
that's right, our roots. And on the Kanara, Brother Wisdom.
We have the Mashuma Saba. That's the 7 candles.
That's right. And they represent?
They represent every day of Kwanzaa, which has a meaning coming from the Nguzu Saba.
Aha, yes. So the Nguzu Saba, Mashuma Saba is what we call the candles. And then we have our unity cup, correct, Alvamir? That's what we use to pour what?
Libation.
That's right. We started our celebration off with the pouring of libation.
In Kwanzaa, we decorate our table with 7 symbols that represent our history and heritage. And we will be explaining those symbols. So we're going to start from the base. Our first symbol is,
The mkeka.
which represents,
The foundation.
yes. And then our second symbol is going to be our,
Kanara.
yeah, and our Kanara represents our roots. And on top of the Kanara, we have the,
Mashuma Saba, 7 candles.
and they represent the principles that we light for each day. And over here, we have books and handmade gifts, which are,
That was Zawadi.
and the Zawadi are promises made and promises kept that are usually given from one family member or one friend to another after a promise is made and a promise is kept. And then right here, we have our cup, which is,
The Kukumbe Cha Umoja, it is the unity cup. We use it to pour libation at the beginning of our Kwanzaa ceremony.
yes, we do. And then we also have 1 corn for each child, which is called the,
Uhindi.
and then,
The Mazao.
oh yeah, the mazao is our crops, which is representative of our harvest and all the work we've done throughout the year.
Yes.
That's all, right?
And then we have the Nguzu Saba represented on the Kwanzaa table, right?
Yeah, and we have the Guzasaba, which is on the Kwanzaa table, which is not everybody's Kwanzaa table, but it is something that you can do. And then another thing that we can do is you could put something that's called our bandera up here. It's a red, black, and green flag for our Kwanzaa days.
Habaragani.
Kujichagulia.
Habaragani.
Kujichagulia.
Absolutely. On the second day of Kwanzaa, we celebrate Kujichagulia, self-determination. To define ourselves, to name ourselves, to create for ourselves, and to speak for ourselves. Dr. Karanga says that the first act for a free people is to mold the world in their own image and unto or for their own like interests. We have a job to mold the world into our own image and for our own interests. The decision as to what that image is and what our interests are is up to us. We are the ones who will make that decision and that determination. So to practice Kujichagulia, you must first ask yourself 3 primary questions. We must go about the challenge of defining, naming, creating, and speaking for ourselves in the face of great opposition. We know that there is white supremacy. We know we have economic disenfranchisement, political disenfranchisement. We also know we have social and educational disenfranchisement. All of these different layers of tendrils of white supremacy. But we also know that when it comes to celebrating Kwanzaa, celebrating the goodness that we have exhibited throughout the year, that it is our power and our will as a free people to define ourselves. And there's 3 questions that we have to ask ourselves in order to get to make those definitions, to make those distinguishing points of who we are. The first question is, who am I? And not merely who I am not, but who am I? And to do that, to answer that question, you must look at your history. Look at your history of enslavement. Look at your history of colonialization. But go back further and look at your history as it relates to pre-colonialization or pre-colonialism. You must identify what we did socially, politically, educationally, economically. What were the systems and the practices that we had in East Africa and West Africa, South Africa, Central Africa, North Africa, the Pacific Islands, Australia, America, South America, the Caribbean. We must look at ourselves in in the fullness of our glory, the fullness of who we were and the contributions that we made to the world in order to better identify who we are. Now that's the past. The second question is, am I who I am? This question asks us to really look at our current practices, right? To look at what we're doing and how they match with who we are. So we're talking about the present. The third question is, am I all I ought to be? This question has us to look at or to reanalyze our practices and see if what we are doing and who we are is the fullness of who we could be. It asks us to prepare for the future, to improve ourselves and our practices for the generations to come. And it has us to continue to produce more and a better future moving forward. So the 3 questions asked us to look at the past, to look at the present, and look at the future. And that stays with the Afrocentric theme that we see we as a people have always held true to. Making the connection, a oneness of all things, even time itself. In our search for our historical context, we must go far beyond enslavement and colonialism. But in order to do so, there are tools that we can use to get what is necessary for us to identify who we are. One is the philosophy of Kawaida. The philosophy of Kawaida asks us to synthesize the best of African practices and African thought into a practice of constant exchange with the world. Now, what does that mean? To synthesize the best of African thought and practice with a constant exchange with the world. It means that we must look back at the various spiritual practices and social practices and political practices of our people for as deep and as far back as we can go. And we must take the lessons and we must take the goodness from those things and then put them into the context of the world we live in today. That exchange with the world means we don't recreate what was done. Instead, we take the good, the lessons, we add them to our practice today in the context that is best suited for the time that we're in, and we move forward and we continue to build on that greatness, capturing or recapturing the greatness of who we are. To be truly self-determined is to shape the world that we are in our own image and interest. It is from these best practices that we establish core values such as the importance of family, our connection to the universe or the supreme being, and our place in our community. We have a rich history that has given so much to humanity and the world. We must practice Kujichagulia daily. We are a divine people, a free people, who must collectively shape our world in our own interest and image. We must restore our people to our traditional greatness. It is up to us to determine our own destiny. Who am I? What is the image that I will shape this world? What are our interests, not just as an individual, but as a collective? That is what we come together to celebrate on this second day of Kwanzaa. It is a part of the culture that we seek to build as a people who have lost so much of our culture due to the genocide, the enslavement of our people. This is just one step as we continue to grow and build. Only the second day of 365, we continue to grow and build on it and create a better culture as we capture who we are, and we are determined to be great. Ashe.
Ashe.
It is traditional to close the ceremony on the second day of Kwanzaa, Kujichagulia, with the farewell statement, the Tamshi La Tutu Anana. At the end of the Tamshi La Tutu Anana, we say Harambe, which means let's pull together in Kiswahili. We will say 7 Harambes. The last one we hold and we say with so much power and energy, we try to bring the roof down. So it's 7 strong Harambes at the end of the Tamshi La Tutu Anana. We strive for discipline, dedication, and achievement in all you do. Dare struggle and sacrifice and gain the strength that comes from this. Build where you are and dare leave a legacy that will last as long as the sun shines and the water flows. Practice daily Umoja, Kujichagulia, Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kuumba, and Imani. And may the wisdom of the ancestors always walk with us. May the years end meet us laughing and stronger. May our children honor us by following our example in love and struggle. And at the end of the next year, may we sit again together in larger numbers with greater achievement and closer to liberation and a higher level of human life. Harambe! 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 Harambe!
On behalf of Kwanzaa Charlotte, we would like to say thank you for celebrating day 2 of Kwanzaa with us tonight. We invite you to go to our website, KwanzaaCharlotte.com, or go to any of our social media platforms and look at our daily infographics. We got a lot of wonderful things for you to read and learn about Kwanzaa as we celebrate in 2020. Stay safe and happy Kwanzaa!